Now, he has Asperger's syndrome, and his doctor, Professor Jeremy Turk, an autism expert, has been his caregiver for McKinnon, and he seriously believes that Gary could be a suicide risk for himself if he's extradited to the U.S. to face trial and likely imprisonment. So Gilmore from Pink Floyd has come along, who's been a longtime supporter of mental health causes, stepped in to help McKinnon when funding when funding was necessary for him to take care of these medical costs. He's been a supporter of McKinnon for a while because the information that McKinnon says he has retrieved, just as a backstory here, is evidence of a massive craft in our orbit that may or may not be human. He has found evidence of a secret room at NASA where airbrushing takes place on photographs that NASA takes of space, the moon, and other areas, and documents that seems to point to, I think it's a dozen, how did they phrase it? Off-Terra or off-planet employees of NASA. I mean, alluding to the idea that there is a staff being employed by NASA or secret agencies that have 12 off-planet employees. What does that mean? What does that mean? Explorers? Are they out there in space? Are they on a moon base? Are they on a Martian base? What does that mean? Astronauts at space station? Perhaps. But the documents seem to suggest, and other experts and researchers seem to think, that they're talking about some kind of secret space program. So needless to say, the U.S. want this guy locked up for life, but they're not really sure how to handle the thing. It's like they're playing hot potato with the case because they're not sure how the public is going to react, because he's really intelligent, Gary McKinnon. He does have a mental illness, and he's hacked into one of the world's most incredible space agencies. So they're not sure what to do with this. Stay tuned with the Gary McKinnon story, because it's really very, very interesting and intriguing. Do a search for McKinnon. It'd be nice to talk to somebody about Gary McKinnon on the show. It's a really incredible case. So that being said, I wanted to segue into this earlier, but I got kind of sidetracked when I was talking about the retirement of the Space Shuttle Discovery. NASA has just unleashed a new design for a reusable manned deep space craft called Nautilus X. And Nautilus X is an acronym for Non-Atmospheric Universal Transport, intended for lengthy U.S. exploration, and could be in orbit and ready for launch by 2020, according to a briefing by NASA's Future in Space Operations Group. And some of the designs were based on the Bigelow Aerospace plans for inflatable pieces of the craft that could be used for space travel. And this design, it kind of looks like just a basic satellite or a space station, really wonky, a lot of solar panels, a lot of parts sticking out here and there. Nothing streamlined about these vehicles. But it can house 6 guys or ladies or whatever for a 2-year expedition designed for deep space. And it'll employ, I would imagine, some new form of propulsion, like I've mentioned on past episodes of Unified Field. Also, the last thing I want to talk about, because we really got to move on here, we're losing time, is Kentucky being called a hotbed for UFOs. I think this is really neat. There was a video that came out quite a while ago, and it is very, very extraordinary, awe-inspiring, staggering, huge. It looks like a big cigar with lights, kind of. It looks huge. It looks like it could be a mile wide. But if you go to the NBC site lex18.com or Google Kentucky hotbed for UFO sightings, I'm sure this will come up for you. I'm just going to read you a little blurb about this because I think it's pretty cool. And this is directly from that Lex18 site. Did you know Kentucky is considered a hotbed for UFO sightings? According to the state director of MUFON, an organization that investigates the sightings, our state just may be a very popular destination for advanced alien life. Just when you think you've heard and seen it all, there's another reason to put Kentucky on the map. We cover hundreds of cases in Kentucky every year, says David McDonald, a commercial pilot and state director of the Mutual UFO Network, a group of about 1,000 trained investigators who look into reported UFO sightings. 90% of the sightings are easily explained: an aircraft, a satellite, a little alcohol, but 10% of those will knock your socks off. Explaining the unexplainable obviously isn't easy. Tell me about it. McDonald says there were 10 UFO sightings reported to MUFON in Lexington alone last year, though a bulk of the reports his organizations investigate originate in eastern parts of the state. McDonald, however, adds that one report from a trucker 2 years ago who was traveling on US 60 stands out. This thing comes up, goes around him. It's a triangular craft, he said. Next thing he knows, his lights go out, truck dies, he's dead in the water. McDonald said MUFON got confirmation from the power company there were unexplained rolling blackouts in the area at the time of the sighting by the trucker, and the case remains unexplained. McDonald said a lot of the sightings end up being military aircraft being secretly used. The stealth bomber was the subject of UFO reports for years before it was publicly revealed. But the rest? McDonald isn't alone when he says he's convinced there are other life forms out there. Back in September, 7 former Air Force officers held a press conference in Washington claiming they had witnessed UFOs causing malfunctions at U.S. nuclear weapons facilities. Over 500 people responded to an LEX-18 poll asking if the officers were telling the truth, and more than half said they believed they were. That's really sad, because only half of the 500 people who responded to this poll believed that former Air Force officers at a press conference in Washington were believed. These are people who were in charge of our nuclear weapons facilities, and 50% of the people believe in that poll. That's preposterous and really quite sad, because I always say the information's out there if you do your homework. I spoke to Sylvia Richards earlier today. We were supposed to do a segment of the Calendar of the Paranormal, and it had to do with, she's going to kill me if I get this wrong, but I think it was about Bentwaters and the Rendlesham incident. Again, updates on that, and it was going to be really interesting. But my schedule, I'm going to admit to it right now to save face for her. It's my fault. I overbooked some stuff. My schedule was dogged down, and we made plans. We're going to do it on the next episode, and probably a good thing, because we got to get to the interview. It's a little bit longer, and this right here is Neutral Milk Hotel on the Unified Field. We'll be right back and get into the Michael Horn interview right here on CKU 88.1 FM. You're listening to The Unified Field with your host, Mr. Justin Brown, and it's been a good ride. Thanks for tuning in this Saturday night. We are about to listen to the Michael Horn interview. Check out his website at theyfly.com and look into the Billy Meier case for yourself and decide whether or not you think this guy is legitimate. Apparently, a lot of his prophecies, as you will hear, have come true. So, that being said, let's jump into the interview with Michael Horn. It's been a blast having you here. I'm Justin Brown. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow night on Blog Talk Radio and in 2 more weeks here on CKDU 88.1 FM, Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast.
I love the pizza man, 'cause he puts the food right in my hand. Tucks me in so late at night with a delicious cheese slice.
If you love the pizza man, you'll love Island Greek. We have over 21 signature pizzas. Call now and get 2 large signature pizzas and a 2-liter pop for just $39.99. That's Island Greek at 2150 Gottingen, 902-422-8888.
A delicious cheese slice.
Don't touch that dial. An alternate reality awaits.
Hi, I'm Phoenix Wolf. I'm from Halifax. You're listening to the Unified Field. Okay, that's good.
Our guest this evening on the Unified Field, Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast, is Mr. Michael Horn, who's been researching the Billy Meier case for more than 30 years. He's the authorized American media representative of Mr. Meier. He's been doing this since 1979. He's also the writer and producer of the new award-winning feature-length documentary, The Silent Revolution of Truth. Also the writer and narrator of the DVD, The Meier Contacts, The Key to Our Future Survival. But that's not it. He's a very talented individual. He's got a very eclectic background, which includes award-winning film director, film producer, prize-winning painter, designer, creator of the still popular fashion fad fingernail art, which was featured in Harper's Bazaar magazine, and I still see that everywhere walking down the street. He's an award-winning songwriter, one of the first creators of the digital online book publishing, or ebooks, music and video producer, science researcher, national and international lecturer, frequent media guest, published writer, credentialed teacher, humorist, pioneer in commercial water purification applications, and in particular, Starbucks. He's been a set designer, a healthcare professional, creator of the Future Self interactive therapeutic video technique, volunteer work with children and seniors, and also the creator of Standing in Spirit stress relief program. There's so much that this guy has done and very little that he hasn't done. But what we're interested in here in the Unified Field is his direct connection with Billy Meier, the world's most famous UFO alien contactee of our time, who has been in contact with a group of individuals called the Plagiarians, or, according to Billy's tongue, the Playerans. But I don't want to talk about Billy myself. I want to leave it to Michael to talk to all of us about who Billy is. And I've got a whole slew of questions that I know all of you probably have as well about Billy Meier. Mr. Michael Horn, welcome to the Unified Field.
Thank you very much, Justin. It is a pleasure to be with you.
Well, we've been in correspondence for quite some time now, and we finally had the opportunity to meet, and I'm really, really glad that you made the time for us. I know you're really busy because there's a lot going on, specifically right now with schools, universities in Europe right now showcasing the whole Billy Meier contact case, but I don't want to talk about that yet. I thought maybe in your own words you could give us a synopsis of who Billy Meier is, and